Hi, just a quick one. I've just seen on the telly news, cost of living crisis, all that sort of thing. Just in online, gas and electric going up by another 80%, going up by another 61% in January, making the average price £5,300 for your gas and electric a year. I don't know about for the rest of you, but that for me is a £4,000 rise. Yeah, I don't get enough money to pay that. I want a fixed income because I'm disabled. And I've got neighbours who are pensioners. I'm not quite at a pension yet. I've got a little bit to go. But I've got neighbours who are pensions, and I don't know how they're going to afford to pay it, because you can be on 30 grand a year one minute, and the next minute you're a pensioner, and they think you only need 8,000 to live on. And if they're going to take £5,300 in gas and electric, how are you supposed to manage on, the rest? How are you supposed to manage on the rest of it? It's like 60 quid a week or less. Well, pay your council tax, and you're into minus figures, I think, by then. How does the government think we're going to manage this? Well, I don't know. I can't work it out. The one thing I do know is when the poll tax was announced that it was going to cost people a few £100, there was riots in the streets, and the government had to change their mind. I don't know. I'm not saying we should riot, but what I'm saying, we should protest. We should protest, definitely, in the streets. Definitely. And if it was protesting, I wouldn't bother to go to number 10. So just put the army around them, and you'd only get to see about 12 ministers if you was lucky. I'd find out where your local minister lived, and I'd go and protest outside his house. Your local Tory minister, I might add, and go and protest outside his house daily. 24 hours a day, so they can't sleep. So make them worry about their safety and their livelihood for once, instead of them making us worry about ours. There needs to be some form of protest, because all we're doing at the minute is bitching and moaning and doing nothing. We used to be a great country. We used to stand up for ourselves. We used to fight for ourselves. Not anymore. We must look like a right bunch of wussies from the people outside. We have allowed, in the last 12 years, we have allowed the top 1% to double their wealth. We've got more billionaires now than ever. We've allowed the top 5% to make even more money, right? And the rest of us, the 95% of us, are worse off. The top 5% of us have got more wealth than the other 95% put together. That's even before any of these energy nonsense. Now, the French government, they said, oh well, they own their energy, and they said they want to put up 4%, put it up, and they've gone 4%, and that's it, capped at 4% rise, and we'll pay the any offset needed. Our government have said we give you £400 or £1,200 to pay a £4,000 rise. Now, I don't mean to be disingenuous, but that's like telling that's like seeing a man on fire in the street and spitting on him to put him out. It's pointless and worthless. We're still going to end up miles in debt. So I'm wondering, just what does it take for the English bloke today to get up and say enough's enough? If this was France, I'll tell you now, if this was France, if you remember back in the day when there was a lot of trouble in France, what they do, the French truck drivers drove their trucks on their main motorways and set fire to them, and sheep and everything else and tyres and whatever, to stop traffic moving. They crippled the country until they got what they wanted. Just saying. By the way, union is not a naughty word, right? So when you look on the media, remember that the media you're watching and reading is owned by conservative elites. They're owned and run by the bosses, by the people who don't want you to realise that if you gang together and make a union, you have power, and you can actually say to them, up yours, you're going to listen to us for a change. Right? We haven't had that for the past 50 years. And look what happened to us. My dad was a truck driver, right? Bought his own house. Right? Your average truck driver might be able to do it now. Now they're 100,000 short, and they're offering anybody a licence to drive trucks. They need them, so they're going to pay them. But you get your average truck driver now, or your average shop worker. You won't get a mortgage. You wouldn't get a mortgage. Now, back in the day, people who work in Tesco's get full mortgages. Not anymore. Not unless there's two of you working all the hours under the sun and with second jobs. Why should you have to work 3 jobs and then feed yourself and your family through a food bank when you should be paying enough money? You should be paid enough to live on what you're earning. And it's just another way of the government taking from the poor and giving to the rich. Because let's face it, if you're not earning enough and the government gives you a handout to help you out, what are they doing? They're taking your tax and other people's tax to pay you to work for a pittance. So your boss who owns the company can take home massive profits, and it's just transfer of wealth. That's all it is. If you look at everything today, I don't care what you look at, any field you can look at, and you will find out it's a transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich. When are you going to say enough is enough? When you watch your kids starve to death? When you watch your mum and dad, or your grand and granddad, or your brother, sister, uncle, whatever, when you watch loved ones starving or freezing to death this winter, is that when you're going to say, you know what, enough's enough? Or are you just going to sit on your butt and watch the world pass you by? Because even if you're one of those people who thinks, oh, I'm middle class, I'm getting away with it, you won't be, because this is affecting everybody, this price rise, and it will continue to do so, because it won't stop there. It's going to get worse. You're going to end up in the poor person's shoes one of these days, Mr. Middle Class Snob. It's going to hit you. And when it does, I shall laugh my head off. I really will. I'll be serious with you. Because it can't happen soon enough to these smug SOBs who sit there and say, oh, it ain't affecting me, I don't care. You should be looking at all of us and saying, we're the 95%. Whether we think we're middle class or working class, we're the 95%. We're not the upper class 5%. The 95% of us should be not electing Tory governments who only care about the top 5%. Wakey, wakey, people. The coffee has been spilled. Now's the time to make up your mind. You're going to look after yourself and your family and your loved ones, or you're just going to say, let it go to hell in a handbag. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I hope they resonate with somebody. Pass this on if you think it's worth passing on, or just make your own message and put up there in protest. If you can't do anything physically, make your own protest message like this and put it up there. And just tell it to everybody you come into contact with. Say, don't bother looking at the media. The media's going to lie to you. It's not going to tell you the truth of just how bad things really are and just how much this government could have done but chose not to help you out. Anyway, again, I've said it. That's it. I'm done. See you around. Take care.